planet of Beerus. After Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and the others left Beerus planet, the god of destruction called his master, the angel Whis, to discuss something that was disturbing his inner peace. Although Beerus tried not to show empathy due to his position as a god of destruction, something in his subconscious was unsettling his peace of mind. Beerus was clearly bothered by the defeat that Goku and Vegeta suffered at the hands of Frieza in his new form. To Beerus, this was unacceptable, as Frieza had challenged the order of the gods. And to make things even more complicated, it was Beerus himself who had allowed Frieza to come back to life once again, which only made him even more furious. "What is it, Lord Beerus? Why are you so angry?" Whis asked. Beerus then replied, "Haven't you noticed, Whis? Goku's son has become absurdly powerful enough to land a blow on him even while he was using Ultra Instinct." Whis responded, "And isn't that a good thing? From what it seems, Goku wants to use this to improve Broly's training." Beerus said, "No, that's not the problem, Whis. And here I thought you were intelligent. What I mean is that Goku may not be the strongest warrior in all the universes. In fact, he might not even be the strongest warrior in Universe 7. Frieza awakened a new transformation and defeated both Goku and Vegeta, even when they were using their current ultimate powers, Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. In other words, Frieza defeated the two Saiyans while they were in their most powerful forms that we helped them attain. So, does that mean Frieza is even stronger than Goku and Vegeta? After all, Gohan only managed to land a hit on Goku, while Frieza easily defeated both of them. What I'm saying is, you need to teach them that ability. Do you understand?" Confused, Whis questioned, "Are you afraid of Frieza, Lord Beerus?" "Serious," Beerus replied, "I am not afraid of Frieza, but I now understand that he is more cunning and, therefore, more dangerous than the Saiyans. In the past, I gave Frieza the idea of wiping out the Saiyans because I was concerned about their Zenkai ability, but now I see that Frieza has even greater and more destructive potential. I was wrong twice. I tried to annihilate the Saiyans, who have now become the greatest saviors of our universe, while also trusting Frieza twice, knowing full well that he always wanted to become the Emperor of Universe 7. In other words, he wants my place as the god of destruction." Whis then asked, "So, what do you want to do, Lord Beerus?" Beerus answered, "I could erase Frieza once and for all using Hakai. In fact, I've been thinking about it since the Tournament of Power. But bringing him back to life was something that Goku and I promised, and I hate breaking a promise. However, if he keeps evolving at this rate, I fear that neither Goku, nor Vegeta, nor even Gohan or Broly will be able to deal with that disgusting little lizard. I could interfere and end this once and for all, just like I did with that guy called Zamasu, but that would tarnish my reputation as a god of destruction. If Universe 7 cannot protect itself and I, the god of destruction of this universe, have to constantly intervene to help them, I feel like this could lead to bigger problems in the future." Whis then responded, "I understand. You're right. Gohan and Broly have shown exceptional potential, but defeating divine powers makes Frieza a formidable opponent to overcome. And if he continues to grow even stronger within his new form, Goku and Vegeta might not be able to defeat him. In fact, if I remember correctly, I had to help Goku and Vegeta in their fight against Frieza when he revealed his golden form. If it weren't for my interference, Earth would have been destroyed." Beerus then replied, "Now you understand? If it were up to me, Frieza would be dead right now. But since it was a promise, I have to do things the right way. That's why I want you to teach them that special ability. They need to handle this problem themselves." Whis then said, "Well, I just hope they're ready because learning this ability is beyond anything I've ever taught them. Alright, I'll bring them here and train them. But if they die, well, that will be on you, Lord Beerus." Beerus replied, "I take full responsibility. Do it." After debating for a long time, Whis agreed with Beerus and finally brought Goku and Vegeta to Beerus planet to train them in a new special ability. And although Goku and Vegeta were happy to be with their families on Earth, their eyes lit up upon discovering that there was a new ability to learn. The Saiyan blood within them boiled with excitement, because learning new techniques meant becoming even stronger. Later that day, after bringing Goku and Vegeta to Beerus planet, Whis explained Beerus' concerns and the new ability that would make them even more powerful. Goku and Vegeta were excited, but Goku couldn't shake off the guilt. After all, he was also responsible for Frieza's return to life. To make matters worse, Vegeta reminded him that it was Goku's mercy that allowed Frieza to escape Namek alive. Because of this, memories started to echo in Goku's mind. First, the past where he had spared Frieza's life. Then, his mind took him to a more recent memory, when he once again let Frieza live and roam free after the Tournament of Power, despite the fact that Frieza was the greatest enemy of the Saiyan race and the very one who had taken his father's life. Before we continue, if you watched the video up to here, it means you liked it, so subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave your like and activate notifications. And if possible, become a member of the channel where you will have perks, or help with any amount by donating through this QR code. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's go back to the video. Goku became furious. He had truly believed that Frieza could change, but no. Frieza was a monster that was alive, free, and growing even stronger because of him. And for the first time in his life, Goku felt genuine regret. Not even during the battle against Cell, when he had regretted using Gohan as a trump card to defeat the enemy, had he felt such remorse. For the first time, Goku wanted his enemy to be completely wiped out, without mercy. Alright, I get it. I'm the one to blame. But how do we fix this problem? Goku asked, his eyes burning with fury. Seeing that expression, Vegeta realized that Goku had finally understood everything he had felt for years. To Vegeta, Goku had finally grasped the suffering of the Saiyans. Vegeta then spoke, Kakarot, you. But Goku interrupted, silence, Vegeta. We have to learn how to finish Frieza once and for all. Vegeta watched Goku with a different gaze, one of respect and admiration. Goku had finally awakened the desire and pride of a true Saiyan, just as Vegeta had wished for during the Tournament of Power. Vegeta then declared, alright. Let's put an end to Frieza once and for all. Whis then began to explain the mechanics of the new ability that the two Saiyans were about to learn. However, this technique would only work when Goku and Vegeta became one. In other words, it was a fusion, a new kind of fusion. However, to use this new ability, Goku and Vegeta would need to unlock the hidden power of the Saiyans, the most powerful and original form of their race. This form required them to reach the peak of the Saiyans' natural power. Once they achieved that, they would have to fuse in order to attain the ultimate form, the perfect form, the most magnificent transformation of all time, the power of the final stage Super Saiyan God, also known as Super Ultra Saiyan. Whis explained that, after centuries of study, this would have been Yamoshi's ultimate form, if the original Super Saiyan God had reached his full potential. However, that never happened, because Yamoshi's divine power came from the energy of 5 ordinary Saiyans, which was already an absurd feat. But Goku and Vegeta had surpassed that limit, and now, it was time for someone to go even further beyond. However, to achieve this feat, Goku and Vegeta had to become a single warrior. In other words, they needed to unite in order to perform the most powerful transformation of all time. And for that to happen, neither the Metamoran fusion nor the Pod Era fusion would be enough. This time, Goku and Vegeta required the fusion of the gods. But the training would be extremely difficult. Goku and Vegeta had to push the Saiyan power to its absolute limit and then fuse using their divine energy. To make matters worse, this transformation, if it succeeded, would only last 1 minute. In other words, this was a fusion for a single, decisive attack. Whis made it clear, if they were going to do this, they could not afford to fail. Determined, Goku and Vegeta accepted the challenge and began their training inside Whis' staff. This time, both their physical and spiritual pressure would be increased 100-fold. And so, the training began. But beyond everything else, Goku and Vegeta needed to rediscover and truly understand their Saiyan spirit. The training begins. Goku and Vegeta stood before a challenge greater than anything they had ever faced. The training to attain the Saiyan's ultimate form, the definitive evolution of their power, was about to begin. Under Whis' supervision, they were transported to a special training space inside the Angel's staff. There, the gravitational pressure and energy density were 100 times greater than what they were used to. Their bodies and souls were pushed to their limits from the very first moment. The first phase of training required them to abandon any dependence on divine ki. As powerful as Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego were, these transformations were tied to divine energy, something that did not belong to the true essence of the Saiyans. To move forward, they needed to reconnect with their primal strength, their ancestral fury, their true nature. For the first few days, they simply tried pushing their base power to the extreme, but something felt wrong. Their bodies resisted the increase in strength, as if their very Saiyan blood demanded a different path. Whis observed from a distance, not interfering. This was a process they had to understand on their own. Then, the transformation began to manifest. As their battles grew more intense, Goku and Vegeta felt their bodies burning with a beastly heat, their muscles tightening in an unusual way, and raw energy erupting from within. With every exchanged blow, their fury increased, but not as an uncontrollable rage. It was a wild force, yet natural at the same time. The answer came when, exhausted and wounded, they finally remembered what made them unique. Ever since planet Vegeta's destruction, the Saiyans had adapted to combat in many ways, but they had always neglected their greatest gift, the power of the Oozaru. The Great Ape was never just a transformation, it was the foundation of the Saiyans' true potential. Realizing this, they began channeling the Oozaru's primal energy without losing control. At first, it was difficult. The power threatened to consume them, driving their minds to the brink of madness. But with discipline, they embraced their fury as part of themselves. Their bodies began to change. Thick fur started covering their skin, their muscles expanded, and their eyes glowed with a fierce, intense light. Their energy surged to an unprecedented level. When they finally emerged from the transformation, Super Saiyan 4 was born. Goku felt his body lighter yet more powerful than ever. Every fiber of his being pulsed with pure energy. This was the form he was always meant to reach. Vegeta, on the other hand, could feel his strength like never before, as if he was finally complete. The pride of a Saiyan had reached its true glory. They had done it. The ultimate Saiyan form stood before Whis, who watched them with satisfaction. But this was only the beginning. The secret of divine fusion. With the foundation set, Whis revealed the next stage, the divine fusion. Unlike the Pod-era fusion or the Metamoran dance, this technique was unique. It did not merely combine two warriors' strength, it completely merged their souls into a single being, transcending their own limits. To achieve this, Goku and Vegeta needed to balance the raw power of Super Saiyan 4 with the refinement of divine ki. This required them to push their energies to the absolute limit, stabilizing the Oozaru's destructive force within the celestial harmony of the god's power. They began by synchronizing their movements, aligning their ki vibrations, and deepening their mental connection. With each attempt, the fusion failed due to the subtle differences in their fighting styles and individual essences. But with each failure, they learned more. Until finally, the moment arrived.
How about Gogeta?
In a perfect instant, their bodies and spirits united. A massive explosion of energy rippled through the entire training space. The fusion wasn't just an addition of their strengths, it was something far greater. The absolute warrior emerges. Before Whis stood a warrior beyond comprehension. His body was covered in white and silver fur, and a mystical aura fluctuated around him. The divine warrior had been born. The pressure of his power was overwhelming. Whis smiled in satisfaction. Goku and Vegeta had now reached the ultimate form. They were ready to face Frieza, and any other threat that dared to appear. The fate of the universe had never been in such powerful hands. Amazed, Beerus finally spoke. "Whis, this power is absurd. It definitely surpasses my own, it might even rival yours." Whis responded, "And since Saiyans reach the peak of their power during battle, they may even surpass me in their current state. Lord Beerus, I believe we have created the ultimate warrior. And now, what comes next? Let's put an end to Frieza," declared the warrior. Whis then asked, "And what should we call you?" The warrior smirked. "You can call me Supreme Gogeta." Planet of Xenosama. A meeting between Xenosama and Daishinkan was taking place regarding the recent events, for, even though Goku and Vegeta's training had been conducted within the special dimension of Whis' magical staff in Universe 7, all the gods and angels from the other universes felt the divine power of Supreme Gogeta. Many were afraid, others were happy, and some were angry. Because of this, Xenosama requested that Daishinkan go to Beerus' planet to stay informed about everything that was happening, for if the current balance of the universes was broken because of this, Universe 7 could be excluded forever. Thus, Daishinkan departed for Beerus' planet. Planet of Beerus. As soon as the fusion was undone, Goku and Vegeta fell to their knees, exhausted and panting. The monumental power they had achieved with the transformation into Supreme Gogeta drained almost all of their energy. The intensity of this ability was not just a simple increase in strength, it was an explosion of power that had drained their vital energies in a matter of seconds. As they recovered, the reality of the two warriors set in. They were now vulnerable, without the protection of that magnificent form. Goku, still feeling the echo of the strength he had felt when they were one, looked up at Vegeta. The Saiyan prince had a determined expression, although fury and frustration could be seen in his eyes. "Kakarot, we need to find a way to prolong that power. If we had more time, we could end Frieza once and for all," said Vegeta, his tone charged with energy. "I agree," responded Goku, his mind racing. "What if we use the Senzu beans? They help us recover our strength quickly." Vegeta furrowed his brow, considering the idea. The Senzu beans were mystical seeds that could heal injuries and restore strength, even after intense battles. However, the situation now was unique and challenging. At that moment, Whis, who was observing the scene with his arms crossed, decided to intervene. The expression on the angel's face was serious and contemplative. "Goku, Vegeta, this is an interesting proposal, but," Whis began to explain, his voice gentle yet conveying an air of authority. "The Senzu beans, while powerful, have their limitations. They are effective up to a point, but the new transformation you have achieved, the divine power of Supreme Gogeta, is beyond what the Senzu beans can offer." Goku interrupted, confused. "What do you mean, Whis? Can't we just eat one or two of them and return to battle?" "Don't get me wrong," continued Whis. "They restore physical power and can even heal severe injuries. However, the strength you awaken with the divine fusion generated an energy that exceeds what the Senzu beans can handle. The divine power you obtain brings a new level of depth and complexity to the energy flowing through you. Therefore, they simply will not have an effect." Vegeta murmured, a little disappointed. "So, we are stuck with a time limit of 1 minute? That is unacceptable." Goku, still with hope shining in his eyes, tried to see a positive side. "But what if we could just modify the strategy? We can use those 60 seconds in the best possible way." Whis nodded, but his look was serious. "Indeed, this is a viable approach. The real challenge will be to make the most of every second in that form to defeat Frieza once and for all. However, you must be aware that even a single blow may not be enough." The two warriors exchanged glances. The determination in their expressions was palpable. They were ready to not only fight as Saiyans but as warriors elevating the very essence of the Saiyan race. "We will not let Frieza escape again, Whis. We promise that this time we will end him once and for all," Goku exclaimed, with a confident smile. Yes, Vegeta replied, his tone now vibrant with renewed conviction. No matter the time we have, we will fight with everything we've got. Whis smiled, although his expression was one of concern. Very well, then. Get ready. Time is short, but the upcoming battle will be difficult and demanding. Focus on what you have learned and be quick. The sky over Beerus's planet was clear, but the atmosphere was charged with tension and anticipation. In an instant, the air grew heavy, and an imposing presence materialized. Daishinkan, the Grand Priest of the Gods, appeared in the center of Beerus's planet. His aura was impressive, as if the gravity around him intensified. The gazes of Goku, Vegeta, and Whis immediately turned to the serene and azure figure of Daishinkan, and it did not take long for the seriousness in his gaze to become evident. Daishinkan! Exclaimed Whis, his tone reflecting the unease he felt. What brings you here? Daishinkan looked at each of them, his expression wrapped in a mix of discontent and urgency. I come with a message of extreme gravity, began Daishinkan. His voice was deep and resonant, echoing through space like a silent thunder. The awakening of the power that you, Goku and Vegeta, have achieved, an unprecedented feat, has caused a stir across the multiverse. The gods of destruction and angels from other universes not only felt the surge of power, but a wave of fear and anger consumed them. The unease in the air mounted as Daishinkan's words echoed. What was once seen as an achievement was now a threat to the stability of the universes. Power? Goku asked, the fury fading from his voice. But we fight to protect what we love. How could this be a threat? Daishinkan fixed his gaze directly on Goku, his coldness palpable. The power you have manifested is not only fascinating, it is dangerous. You have surpassed the power of a god of destruction, something that should never have occurred. This puts the delicate balance between all universes at risk. The fear and hostility generated among the other gods and angels can lead to wars, and wars breed destruction. Vegeta, resentful, raised an eyebrow. So that's it? Our strength becomes a problem? They were content to see us as warriors, but not as beings more powerful? Daishinkan did not hesitate to respond. Exactly, Vegeta. What you have achieved is both a blessing and a curse. If you are not careful, peace between the universes may crumble, and Universe 7, specifically, may suffer the consequences. Tension heightened. Goku and Vegeta exchanged nervous glances. They knew that the battle against Frieza would not only be a fight to prove their strength but also a game with monumental implications. The biggest problem, continued Daishinkan, is that if nothing is done soon, Zeno-sama may decide to eliminate Universe 7 completely. He will not tolerate a threat to the balance among his domains. And, according to celestial rules, Zeno's decision is final and unassailable. The ground seemed to tremble beneath Daishinkan's words. The idea that Zeno-sama, the king of all, might exterminate Universe 7 simply because of their new transformation was like a physical blow. Just 1 minute of power is not enough to face all this chaos. Your fusion may last 50 or 60 seconds, but the consequences of this power will resonate for much longer. If we do not have a plan in place, what happens in the next 24 hours could be the end. Whis, usually calm, tilted his head in respect and concern. But, Daishinkan, we are working hard. Daishinkan interrupted, his voice now nearly cutting. Don't come to me with excuses, Whis. You both allowed this situation to grow uncontrollably. I expected more from you, if not for the sake of Universe 7, then at least for your own initiation. Irresponsibility cannot be tolerated. An uncomfortable silence hung over the group, the reverberation of Daishinkan's anger struck deep into Beerus and Whis. The god of destruction, usually arrogant and carefree, seemed to shrink under the unwavering gaze of the Grand Priest. If nothing is done within 24 hours, Daishinkan continued, I will have to take drastic measures. Whis, you will be banned from your position, unable to affect events far beyond this universe. And Beerus? You will lose your throne as god of destruction of Universe 7. Daishinkan's words sliced like a sharp blade. The pressure in the air grew heavier, and the consequences of their actions began to weigh on both their consciences. "We cannot let Frieza or any other threat dominate what we have built," said Vegeta, his gaze firm towards Daishinkan. "We are ready to do whatever is necessary to protect our home." Daishinkan nodded, but his gaze remained critical. "This is the least that is expected of you. Time is running out, and your actions will determine not only the fate of Universe 7 but also reflect the mistakes made throughout the cosmos." With those final words, Daishinkan turned to leave. His body glided smoothly, as if gravity bent to his will. The atmosphere around him seemed to dissipate, but his imposing presence still lingered like a shadow weighing on everyone. Goku and Vegeta knew that time was not on their side. A tide of responsibility flooded over them, and the determination to protect their home grew. The dialogue between the gods and warriors had reached an agonizing impasse, but one thing was clear: the challenge was set. Now, with the clock ticking and consequences lurking, they had to prepare for what was destined to happen. The fight was not only against Frieza, but also for the very continuity of the universe. Destiny awaited them, and the battle for their existence had only just begun. "10 hours later." Hours passed, and time felt like an eternity for Goku and Vegeta as they recovered from the exhausting fusion. Even with Whis' healing powers, the signs of fatigue remained. 10 hours had passed and both were mentally focused and prepared for what was to come. The weight of the consequences hung over them like a cloud, and feelings of determination and despair had intertwined. Observing his charges, Whis decided it was time to present his plan. "Goku, Vegeta," began the angel, his voice calm. "Since the fight with Frieza will be inevitable, I propose that we do not confront him where he is. Instead, we should lure him to Beerus' planet. Here, we can minimize collateral damage and protect other planets from the impact of the battle." The eyes of Goku and Vegeta lit up at the proposal. They knew that this could end up protecting many innocents. "That makes sense," replied Goku, the excitement in his voice increasing. "But how are we going to lure him?" "Leave that to me," Whis smiled. He then used his magical staff to probe the universe. Time seemed to bend under his command, and soon he managed to locate Frieza in a distant corner. Without hesitation, Whis approached him. With a gesture of his staff, Frieza's image appeared before Whis, looking relaxed but always alert. "Frieza!" called Whis, his voice resonating across space. "The universe has an intriguing proposal for you. A fight in which the winner will take the Dragon Balls for themselves." Frieza's expression slowly changed. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Dragon Balls? And who would this challenger be?" "The very Supreme Gogeta, the fusion of Goku and Vegeta. If they win, the Dragon Balls will be in their hands," responded Whis assertively. Frieza's smile widened. The desire for power was something he could not refuse. He always found a way to get the spheres, and a fight seemed like the perfect opportunity for revenge. "Very well, Whis. I will come there," Frieza replied, his voice full of contempt. "It's my time to claim what's mine." Whis felt a wave of satisfaction as he watched Frieza materialize across space to Beerus' planet. It was a chance to defeat the threat in a more controlled manner, and it seemed the game was indeed in motion. When Frieza finally arrived, the air grew tense. He surveyed the scene, his eyes shining as he recognized the power emanating from Supreme Gogeta. Without hesitation, Frieza unleashed his aura and prepared for battle. The fight between Supreme Gogeta and Frieza. The fight erupted like a hurricane. Supreme Gogeta, with the confidence of his transformation, charged into the attack. He unleashed a series of punches capable of tearing the very atmosphere, while Frieza attempted to match the strength with extraordinary resilience. The environment vibrated with each blow, the exchange of impacts sounded like thunder cutting through the sky. Supreme Gogeta was much stronger than Frieza in his black form, but, as always, Frieza displayed his ability to resist and counterattack. Each blow Frieza received seemed to fuel his determination to fight even harder. Even with Gogeta's superiority, The fight dragged on, and a new factor became evident: time was running out. As the 45 seconds approached, Goku and Vegeta were aware of the fragility of their fusion. They knew every moment counted, and all their confidence depended on their ability to defeat Frieza before they became vulnerable again. "Now!" shouted Supreme Gogeta, channeling all the energy he could gather into a single devastating attack. The power that emerged was colossal, an attack that could change the tides of battle. A blast of energy was launched towards Frieza, an attack that gathered all the fury and determination of the two warriors. The impact was brutal. Frieza was thrown back, and his body was engulfed in flames of energy. The scream he emitted echoed throughout Beerus's planet, but, to everyone's astonishment, he was still standing, albeit slumped and injured.
Damn you!
The fusion was undone, and in an instant, Goku and Vegeta were back in their original forms, exhausted and vulnerable. However, something in Frieza's gaze indicated that he had indeed been defeated. He could no longer support himself, and the life in his body was hanging by a thread. Goku and Vegeta were panting but certain they had succeeded. The battle had been won. Silence reigned, broken only by the sound of Frieza's heavy breathing, already defeated but filled with resentment and hatred. Whis watched the scene with an expression that mixed satisfaction and concern. He now approached Goku and Vegeta. "You did it! And as a result, you now have the chance to make wishes using the Dragon Balls. What do you want?" Goku turned to Vegeta, both aware that this was a chance to correct some of the past mistakes. With his mind filled with ideas, Goku took the lead. "The first wish will be for the destruction of the hyperbolic time chamber that Frieza found. He won't be able to evolve any further, and the Dragon Balls will not fall into his hands again." "Right." Vegeta nodded, determined. "And the second wish should be for the restoration of all the planets that Frieza destroyed and sold. They should be returned to their rightful owners." Goku smiled, knowing that these were noble wishes that would benefit many. "And lastly," he began, his voice becoming serious, "the final wish will be that in the next battle, if Frieza dies, he can never be revived again." Whis smiled in approval and gestured towards the ground, where the Dragon Balls began to glow. The magical spheres appeared, swirling in harmony with the wonders of the universe around them. As the light grew, Goku and Vegeta prepared to make their wishes, confident that these steps would protect the universe and correct the mistakes of the past. With energy and determination, Goku and Vegeta made the wishes in unison, and the spheres illuminated with an incandescent light. The wishes vanished in a vortex of energy, and each one began to be fulfilled. As the confirmation of the wishes echoed in the air, a new foundation of hope emerged. With that, Goku and Vegeta knew that the balance of the universe was a little safer, and the fight against Frieza had come to an end. "Forever, Frieza, this is what you will have," Goku declared, his gaze determined as he turned to the defeated body of Frieza. And so, the battle had come to an end, and with the wishes made, Goku and Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief. The consequences of what they faced and the new structures they had built would shape the future of Universe 7 forever. But as the dust settled from the battle, they knew that regardless of what happened next, they would always be ready to protect their home. The reverberations of the past were now steps towards a brighter future.